proceed?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we are ready to proceed.
Thank you. You have the floor, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Witness, may I remind you that you are still under oath?
Yes, sir.
Before the break, you are talking about the move of the soldiers from Yundum Barracks towards Banjul. I would now read out an excerpt from your statement. It's in paragraph 12 of the protected information sheet. I will read it out with redactions. So, Mr. Witness, after I finished reading it, I would ask you to confirm whether or not what is contained in the paragraph is correct. And your answer should be a simple yes or no. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
The paragraph is entitled New Coup Plan for July 22nd, 1994. It is an excerpt of paragraph 12 of the witness's statement. And I read it as follows, quote, after I spoke to person 1, I decided to reach out to some soldiers and make sure that our mission does not fail. As a result, I went to person 2. When I arrived there, we arranged for person 3 and person 4 to meet with us. We discussed what happened at the airport and decided that we should take action. We also agreed to be on the road and seize any car that comes our way and drive towards Banjul in order to take over State House. In furtherance of our plan, we asked person 1 to meet with some other person and relay the message. He may have been on duty at the time. Thereafter, we went home knowing that something will happen the following day, unquote. Does that reflect the facts about what happened on the night of 21st July, 1994?
Yes, sir.
Could you repeat your answer, please?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Witness. You earlier told us that when you arrived at the barracks on the morning of the 22nd July, soldiers seized vehicles in order to go to Banjul. In your statement, specifically in paragraph 13, it is contained in paragraph 13 of the protected information sheet. You indicated in that paragraph whose vehicle you seized and who was the driver. Is what is contained in paragraph 13 of the protected sheet correct?
Yes, sir.
Now tell us what happened on your way to Banjul.
On our way to Banjul, as I mentioned, people were jubilating on the highway, raising their weapons high as a show of aggression. But the Gambian populace were on sides of the road, clapping, offering us drinks, offering us water. You can see some people dancing alongside, as if they know actually what was happening. But on that particular morning, most of the people don't really know what is happening.
Can you tell us what happened when you arrived at the gas station near the place called Kamalo?
On arrival to Kamalo, we stopped. We ordered some men in the vehicles to go and collect people in paragraph, passing in paragraph 1, and other people like Singate, Sanasabali, and yeah, those people who were asked to be under house arrest, who were ordered to be under house arrest from the 21st of July. They were asked to go and collect them to come and join them. So at Kadmalo, we stood briefly, let's say about 30 minutes, waiting for those people to come and join us.
Among the people who were called to come and join, did they include Yaya Jammeh?
He was among them.
How about Yankuba Ture?
Yankuba Ture was not around here. He was a member of the 2nd Battalion in Farfenye.
Why, do you know why it was decided to go and bring the people you mentioned, Yaya Jammeh, Sana Sabali, Edward Singate?
The group leading to Banjul deemed it necessary that our endeavor today to take over was a continuation from where these people stopped from the 21st July 1994. So the group deemed it necessary for them to be part and parcel of what we are heading for.
At this stage, as far as you know, did Yaya Jammeh know exactly what was going on?
They were not informed as to what was going on. They were even surprised to find out that this is something is taking place on the 22nd. All that we are waiting for is for them to be called for interrogation by the defunct NSS.
When they arrived, did you see them?
I saw them.
What happened after they arrived?
What happened when they arrived? Automatically they knew that their ventures has been a continuation. So this is not a scientific rocket for them to understand.
And what happened to the group after they arrived?
The group start to move forward towards Banjul.
Did you eventually arrive at the bridge?
Obviously, we arrive at the bridge as far as we are moving towards Banjul.
Can you tell us what happened when you arrived at the bridge?
As far as my recollection may not fail me, on arrival at the bridge, we found Armia Suare, known as his real name is Ahmad Suare, at the bridge.
Can you tell us to which force he belonged at the time?
He was a gendarme officer.
Do you know which unit of the gendarme?
He was a member of the tactical support group called TSG.
Did he come to your group at all?
On arrival at the Denton Bridge, he approached us. The first person he talked to was Yaya Jammeh, because they knew each other when Yaya was the gendarmerie before transfer to the army.
Do you know what they talked about?
The first question he asked was, "What is going on?" Automatically, the reply was straight and forward that we are moving towards Banjul to take over from the former government. That is it. It is a coup.
Who told him that?
It was here again.
Do you know how Armiao Soare or Amadou Soare responded?
The response was as easy as that. He called his men who were laying down in the bush. This is sort of an ambush to come on board. When they arrived at the group, Sana Sabali told them to turn their barracks the opposite way from gray, and when you turn it, it becomes black. Automatically, they join us just like that.
As far as you know, was there any form of negotiation between Yaya Jammeh and Amadou Soare?
What kind of negotiation are you referring to here?
Did Soare make any demands of Yaya Jammeh?
Demands as whether he's allowed to join us or not.
Did Soare say anything that suggested that he was not in agreement with what Yaya Jammeh said?
As far as I can remember, there was no negotiation of any such, as far as I can remember.
Can you tell us how quickly Soare accepted Yaya Jammeh's statement that they were going to overthrow the government?
It looks like even Suare was even aware of this, because if he's asked to come and lay ambush for soldiers who were coming, I know he don't know, because what I think he must have perceived was, as usual, soldiers were on a demonstration. But when he knew very well that this is not even a demonstration, now it's something else much bigger, I think that also must have allowed him to accept it wholeheartedly, and then he joined us without any negotiation or even some resistance.
Did you sense any hesitation on his part?
There was no hesitation.
Are you suggesting that he immediately accepted what Yaya Jammeh told him?
It was just like an automatic switch. He accepted like that.
Did you see him have a meeting with his men before he accepted?
What I can remember was, when this was told, he just raised his arms, just like what we do in the army. You raise your arm and place it on your head. You raise your arm and place it on it 3 times, and then his men started to come up from the grasses.
Did you see him hold a meeting with his men?
No, as far as I can remember, I didn't see any meeting.
From there, what did the group do?
That was the only time that stopped us from the bridge. When they joined us, just a march. You march towards across the bridge, and then we are heading towards Banjul.
Do you know what role Soare was playing or played when you were going towards Banjul?
Suare, as far as I can understand, there was not a much role he played other than be within the groups and then join the groups and then march towards Banjul.
Did he take over command of the group?
Suare was not at liberty to to take command from the groups. Because according to our tradition, in the army, you don't expect a bunch of soldiers coming and a foreign commander come from somewhere and then take over the command like that. This is not acceptable in the army documents.
What would you say to the suggestion that Suare agreed with Yaya Jammeh and all the other officers that he would take over command of the group from the point of the bridge to State House?
I'm very sorry to say that, but that is very ridiculous.
Can you describe what happened on your way towards Banjul?
On our way to Banjul, it's just as usual, soldiers occupying both sides of the road, going towards Banjul. This is what I can tell you.
During that process, did you see Suare at all?
Yeah, Suare was with us up to where the arch is. Then there was no arch but a small graveyard on the left when entering Banjul on the way into the Independence Drive. There I last to see him.
And how did you proceed at that point? Which route did you take?
The group was divided, but the majority of the soldiers took on the left into Marna Parade, then the others into Independence Drive to go inside Banjul.
Which group did you join?
I joined the group that was going by the left.
Which is by which street?
Marna Parade.
On the way to Marina Parade, did you stop anywhere?
Yes, we stopped briefly at where the gap is now. Then it was an office for medical and health. We stopped there to contemplate what next step we should do because we are very much near to the back gate of the State House.
Why did you have to do that?
Because that was the main target. Now we don't know what we are going to face because there are also some armed officers inside, and then the head of state was inside. That was the head of the seat of the government. So that's why tactically we should contemplate to see what next to do, either to launch an attack or that this was the discussion.
What happened after that?
On the contemplation, what happened was just like magic. We saw one of the officers called Musa Jammeh open the main gate and then came. What he first said was, I don't understand, it was in Jola, but I suggest I know he was asking exactly to Yaya Jammeh, what are you waiting for?
Does Musa Jammeh have an alias? Is he known by any other name?
Musa Jammeh was called Malia Mungu. Malia Mungu is a character in one of the novels written called The State of Blood in Uganda. Malia Mungu was a particular character behind Idi Amin, who was notorious of his killings to the people in Uganda. So he took that name as Malia Mungu.
When the gates of State House were opened, what did the soldiers do?
That is it. When we knew that the president was no longer there and there was no resistance, so our fear was laid off and everybody rose in as if the gate of heaven is open and everybody was in heaven now.
Can you describe the scene as to what happened when you entered?
The scene was in a situation of a jubilation of victory, as if soldiers has gone into war and then they conquered. Everybody was jubilating, going in and out. People who have never been into the State House, wandering around, climbing up and down. Some people went into the office of the president. You can see them sitting on the chair of the president. Some people lying down on soft sofas, even on his bed. People were lying down there.
At this time, who was in charge of the group?
Nobody has ever claimed of command of the soldiers. The situation was in total chaos. People were wandering all around. To be very honest, there was no particular person who I can recall to be in command of the soldiers.
Did you have a definite plan as to what to do at this time?
Our first plan was to go and then take over, but the surprising thing is we never thought that it's going to be as easy as possible. The second plan was never in the agenda.
Could you explain what that means?
What that means was a proper military takeover. I think a document should be written that if you succeed, this man is going to be the chairman, this man is going to be the vice, this man is going to be that and that and that. There was something like that.
Did you have a plan at this stage as to what to do?
At that material time, there was no plan.
Did you guys have any ideas as to what to do at this time?
The idea at that particular time was, in the takeover, there are some people who play key roles of this school. They were now to come up and then choose a chairman. The chairman was supposed to be Basiru Baro, but unfortunately for him, he fell sick of what ailment, I don't know, but he was not part of us on that particular day to march towards the State House. That has brought some delay to announce whoever going to be the chairman, because he was among the key people who played a particular role. He's one of the senior group within, so it was automatically a consideration that he was supposed to be the chairman. But when he didn't appear, this has brought some confusion among the small group of officers as to who was supposed to be the chairman. That has caused a little bit of delay from the 22nd July 1994.
Was that problem settled eventually?
That problem was settled eventually. I cannot remember, but I think it's within the 72 hours when the group met and then tried to come up to alleviate the confusion or to address, because it was a concern by the nation for something to happen. So this group came up and then they met. When they met, other people were now brave enough to come and join us. I can fully remember people like Member Cham, people like Major Njai, Kolo Pacha Malik, people like Sonko, people like Samsidin Sar. I can fully remember these people now coming to join to the group who were about to decide who the chairman would have been.
You mentioned names of several individuals. I want you to tell us their ranks at that time, as you know it. You mentioned Mama Cham. What was his rank at the time?
Mama Cham, if I can fully remember, he was a captain. Sam Sirisa was a captain. Malik Njai was a major.
Do you recall any meeting, or you mentioned earlier that this group met and they discussed. Can you tell us who took part in that meeting and which group you're referring to?
The group that I'm referring to are the key fomenters of this school from day one. People like Jame, the former commander, people like Sana Sabali, people like Edward Singate, people like Sadibu Hydra, people like these are the people who are the key participants of this coup plot. So these are the people who are now coming to decide who is to be the chairman as far as Barrow was not there.
Can you explain how this happened and where it happened?
This happened in those days. If you enter the State House, I can fully remember there are some seats built by the former regime. It's just like a canopy, two of them. It was raining, and then they decided to go to one of it, under it, to run away from the rain. There the soldiers gathered outside, although it was raining, not that much heavy rain, but some showers. But the main group now sat under that canopy, trying to discuss between themselves who the chairman was to be. Some of the bystanders, the soldiers, were calling Edward Singate. His name actually featured much more than Sana Sabali, Yaya Jammeh, or Sadib Hydra. The people, they were much calling for Edward to be the chairman. Although Sana Sabali's name featured as second, but Yaya Jammeh's name didn't feature much.
Be careful here with the information that you provide. But can you tell us how Yaya Jammeh eventually came to be selected?
Yaya Jammeh, the reason why he didn't have that much chorus within the soldiers who were standing behind is a simple reason. He was in a Zanamori when the amalgamation happened. Not actual amalgamation, but the military police was transferred to the army. He was the commander of the military police. That's how he came to the army. Now, when he came there, he was awarded a scholarship. Not long before, when he came there, it was barely 1 or 2 months, he was awarded a scholarship to go to America for military police duties of 3 or 6 months. I think it's 6 months. There, he was there. Most of the soldiers, they don't know him. When he came, it was barely 1 or 2 months when this coup happened. Most of the soldiers, they don't know him because he was not an original GNA personnel. That's why, I think so, that's why his name was not Koros. Thereon, some people within the group shouted and said, no, it would not be fair, because the reason why we are waiting is for Barrow as a senior lieutenant to be the chairman. If Barrow is not here, then the next person among the hierarchy is Yaya Jammeh, who was also a lieutenant, and his seniors, people like Edward Singate, Sana Sabali, and Sadibu Hydra. Thereon, it was accepted that it would not be fair to jump the rank. Although he was not an originally GNA personnel, but then he has that liberty as a Gambian and as a member of the Gambian National Army to be part and parcel of what is ever is to be discussed, and then to lead. This is how he came to be chosen to be the chairman. When he was chosen to be the chairman, most of the soldiers don't know him, especially those soldiers who were outside Union Barracks. When they say Yaya Jammeh, they thought that it was a Yaya Jammeh that we know, a good footballer who was playing for the Gambian National Army. And Yaya Jammeh, but then he was a couple. So soldiers were at that dilemma. Only when they were told or explained that, no, this Yaya Jammeh was the Zanamori officer heading the military police now in the army. He was away on course. When he came, barely there was a coup, but commonly known as Kanilai.
So you're suggesting that when Yaya Jammeh alias Kanilai was selected as chairman, some of the other soldiers who did not know him believed or thought that it was the other Yaya Jammeh who played football for the army. Is that right?
Yes.
Was it later clarified who this Yaya Jammeh was?
That's what I said. Later on, they were told and explained that this Yaya Jammeh is called Kanilai, the commander of the military police unit.
Was he accepted as chairman?
Automatically accepted.
At this stage, can you tell us what was the plan of the council?
As far as I know, the plan of the council is only to solidify their various positions, because when Yaya was appointed chairman, immediately other people followed up. Edward Ngata was given as defense minister. Sana Sabali, who was next senior to Yaya, was given as minister. Then next to Edward Ngata was Sadibu Haidara, was given Minister of Interior. Now they let the ball roll because they have to solidify their positions.
Do you know whether other people were given positions?
Among the group of the officers who attended, people like Malik Njai, I cannot remember. I think Malik was given Minister of Health. Malik Njai, Major Njai was given Minister of Health. Lieutenant Captain Sam Sidisar as Minister of either Information or I can't remember. And Captain Mamad Cham was given another ministerial post.
Can you recall which post?
I don't know, transportation or information, I cannot remember exactly.
Thank you very much. At this stage, was Suare present?
No, Suare was not present. I didn't see him.
Do you know whether he was considered for a position?
As I told you, Suare, I missed to see him immediately. We started to break up at where the arch is now. I believe that he was at the headquarters because Suare was not totally visible. If not, he would have been among the group. I didn't see him.
Do you know whether he was considered to be given a position?
No, I cannot remember.
Can you tell us whether that period there were any contacts between these new rulers, new heads of the government, and the deposed regime?
Yes, I can fully remember Edward Singate either on the second day or the third day talking to the former head of state who was in somewhere around either in the America worship or he was in Senegal, but they were constantly in touch. It was a very lengthy discussion. They were talking, yes.
As at the time positions were being distributed or positions were being assigned, did you sense any form of disagreement among those who were present?
As far as I can remember, I didn't sense any of that nature.
Did Yahya Jammeh have to make any statements suggesting who should get what?
Yes. What happened was, on the second day of the coup, 2nd Battalion Farafenye, not all of them, I think 1 or 2 platoons were asked to make a reinforcement with the fear of the American warship that is floating in the rivers in the waters of the Gambia. Among the group that came from Farafenye, their leader was Captain Sam Jiba, Second Lieutenant Yankuba Toure, Second Lieutenant SP Mendy. They were based at the Marine headquarters, and they were asked to come and then meet the selected chairman. On their arrival, one of them was asked to join the council. The first person they targeted was SP Mendy, called Samper P. Mendy, who declined. And then next to him was Yankuba, who they asked to join as well as Samper SP Mendy declined. This is how Yankuba came to be part and parcel of the council.
Were you present at this time?
Yes, we were present.
During these discussions, did you hear about anything mentioned about Babu Chop?
Yes, this happened when they arrived at the tent, let me say a tent, where the selection took place. When Yajame looked around and then he sensed that now senior officers are coming to join on board, what he first mentioned was, this situation, there's no monkey walk, baboon eat. He repeated that 3 times. No monkey walk, baboon eat, which means the junior ones fomented this takeover. Now the takeover, by the grace of God, went smoothly. There was no scuffles. There was nothing of any thing that people lost their life. Now people are brave enough to come on board. Now the senior officers started to emerge. So I think they sense, or he sensed, and then he felt threatened that their endeavor is going to be hijacked. So they stood firm, and then he mentioned openly, no monkey walk, baboon eat.
To whom was that directed?
It was directed by the senior officers who later on were given the position like Emocham, like Major Njai, Samsirin Sar, who are now coming close.
By Emo Cham, you're referring to then Captain Mamad Cham.
Yes. Yes.
And by Samsidin Sar, you're referring to then Captain Samsidin Sar, correct?
Yes.
After all this has taken place, don't tell us the exact details. Did your career, was there a change in your position in the army?
We were.
Can you tell us what happened to those who actively participated in the coup?
All those who participated actively in the coup, right from the members of the council, everybody's position was uplifted. Most of the people's positions were uplifted. even the council members like Edward Singate, they were captains, Sana Sabali were captains, and many other people. Even most of the senior NCOs were uplifted by rank.
I refer you to paragraph 14 of the protected information sheet, which deals with paragraph 17 of the statement. Could you take a look at it and tell us whether the information contained in this paragraph is correct? Specifically starting from the sentence, few days later to the end. Do you confirm that this information is correct?
I think I'm with
paragraph 14.
A wrong copy.
Paragraph 14 of the protected information sheet. You should have it.
No, I don't have it.
We would provide another copy, another version, and you take a look at it.
Okay. 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 Okay.
Mr. Witness, what I want to drive at is the last sentence in paragraph 14.
A few days later.
Yes, don't read it out.
Okay.
Don't read it out.
Okay.
Don't read it out. All I want you to do is to confirm that what is contained in the last line in paragraph 14 of the protected information sheet is accurate. That is specifically about something that happened to you.
Yes, it's correct.
Could you repeat your answer, please?
It's correct.
Thank you very much. Can you tell us, did you remain in the State House after this event, after the coup succeeded, or you moved from State House to some other barracks? Don't tell us exactly where. Just tell us whether you moved or you remained at State House.
What happened after the formation? Not everybody stayed in the barracks. We were all moved out.
You mean not everybody stayed at State House?
No. Because people were given different positions, different roles in other barracks where they were moved to.
And you happen to have been one of those, right?
Yes.
Could you tell us for how long, or let me rephrase, was a decision made as to the length of time the council would serve before we return to civilian rule?
It was an agreed MOU that was not written. It was just a verbal gentleman agreement that if we succeed in this endeavor, we are going to be there 3 months. After that, we hand it over to the civilians.
Did that happen?
Obviously, it never happened.
How was that perceived by the soldiers or received by the soldiers?
The soldiers were deemed to be let down. Not only that, the agreement has encompassed a lot of an MOU that if you succeed, whoever is going to be on top to carry out certain things that has warranted the fomenting of this coup, which the council failed vehemently, and then has caused some soldiers, not some soldiers, but all of the army to be disgruntled.
And what were they to do?
One, that immediately they should start talking about the increment of salaries of the soldiers. Number two, they should start talking the welfare of the soldiers. Number three is for them to start preparing to return to the barracks, which they fail.
And did that cause any problems in the army?
Yes, in the army, when you say low morale in the military term means it's next to riot. When you say the soldiers are at low morale, the next thing is problems. So they sense that the morals of the soldiers was at this low ebb. So this has caused a lot of problems, the serious problems in the army.
Could you explain what happened as a result of this disgruntlement?
As a result of this disgruntlement, the council felt very much uncomfortable, and they knew that these are soldiers who were brave enough to take over from a constitutionally elected government. So they will not hesitate to take over from a particular group that they installed. So what they did was, on the 11th of November, which they think now they have to take action. 11/11, we call it 11/11, 11 November 1994, they took the first move.
Can you explain what happened and how it happened?
The council started to divide the army. They divide the army in the sense, those who were chosen to be the state guard personnel are near to the power. So these are the people they use against soldiers in the barracks. The move they took was, on this particular fateful day, they organized themselves and then attacked the barracks, that is Yundum Barracks and Fajar Barracks, with the plan of saying there was a coup plot that they are foiling, but actually it wasn't a coup plot. It was a move that they have taken first to galvanize and solidify their position, and then they arrested the key people whom they suspect are going to be the head of the group they suspect is going to be launched against them. They surrounded them. Some people were executed in both inside the barracks. A lot of catastrophe happened. It was a serious problem.
Were you present during this event?
We were not present. I wasn't present, but then, yes, I wasn't present, to be very honest.
Don't tell us from who, but did you receive the information as to what happened?
Yes, I was reliably informed by an officer in the army who told me that this is what happened.
Could you look at the protected information sheet and look at the list of persons? Could you take a look at paragraph 4 of the protected information sheet and let us know whether the name of the person is listed, and if it is so listed, tell us person who.
I was reliably informed by person number 5 of paragraph 4.
Where was person 5 at the time the members of the council attacked the barracks, the 2 barracks?
Person number 5 was at Fajara Barracks.
At this time you were being informed by person number 5. What kind of relationship did you have? Don't tell the specific relationship, describe it in general terms, please.
Person number 5 was an officer within our setup.
Did he work with you?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Could you tell us the information you received? Which members of the council attacked the barracks?
I was reliably informed by person number 4 under paragraph 4, person number 5 of paragraph 4, that he was arrested during that time because unfortunately he was in the barracks on a mission, and then he was arrested, and then he saw all what that happened.
Were you told which members of the council attacked the barracks?
Yes, he told me it was not Sana Sabali, Sadibu Haidara. These are the leaders of the group or the elements that came from the State Guards command.
Do you have any names of those who came from the State Guards and participated?
People I cannot remember. I cannot remember their names, to be very honest, because it was 1 or 2 people. It was sort of a whole company.
Can you tell us the 1 or 2 people you can remember?
Yes, as I mentioned, it was Sana Sabali. He told me it was not Sadibu Haidara.
Was Yankuba Ture mentioned at all?
Yankuba Ture, he must have been among, yes, because he was a member of the council and then in uniform.
Do you recall whether he was mentioned or not?
Yes, he was mentioned.
Thank you very much. As a result of this incident in November 11, did anything happen to your career? Don't tell us precisely what. Tell us whether something happened to your position in the army. Yes or no?
Yes, something happened.
With regards to November 11, I'm sorry I have to go back to that. Were you informed as to who was killed?
As I stated before, the army has never suffered a casualty of that caliber since from the inception of the army. This is one of the dark days the army shall ever remember. A lot of soldiers fell. Among them, you have a whole list. I think they were nearly to 19 or 20 plus soldiers who were executed.
Do you have names for us? Those who were executed, as far as you can remember?
As far as I can remember, I'll be able to give you some few names, and then the rest you can follow up, because the army is well documented. People like Jibril Sey, Ablaye Fall called Dot, Cisse, Aliou Cisse, Basiru Kamara, Basiru Baro, one man called, he's called Nyancho. His first name is Mane Ibrahim. I don't know, Ibrahim Mane sort of. A lot of them. A lot of them. It's a handful of people.
Do you have any information as to where they were buried?
I wasn't privy to that, but you know the army people talk when this happened. I learned that they were executed at different places. In Fajara Barracks, Edward Singate, Sana Sabali, Sadibu Haidara, Yankuba Ture were there on the execution side. They were asked to line up. So they line up and they were gone one by one. During that shooting, Babakar Jata, the former army commander, was there. Modu Baji, the president's advisor to the president, was there. They were present during the gunning of these people. They were gone one by one, one by one. The few people who were managed to escaped with wounds, and then they fled into the neighbor side of Casamas. And in Union Barracks, I was told Basiru Baro and others were executed there. And then some people were executed at our army firing range at Brikama. Later I learned that most of them were buried at Union Barracks, near the senior officers' mess, adjacent to the senior officers' mess. And others were buried behind the present army hospital. I learned that some were even buried inside the Nyambai forest.
Thank you very much. You mentioned two names, those who were present apart from the members of the council. You mentioned one Babukar Jata, former CDS, is that correct?
Yes.
What was his rank at this time, do you know?
He was a colonel.
You also mentioned another Momodu Baji, and you said, what was his current position?
Current position is an advisor to the president, security advisor to the president.
What was his rank at this time?
At this time, I think his rank was either a major or a lieutenant colonel.
Thank you very much for that information. After the events of November 11, your position in the army changed. Is that right?
Yes.
Did that change bring you closer to person number one? Yes or no?
Yes.
I now refer you to paragraph 22. Look at the protected information sheet. And I will read it out with reductions, and I would ask you to confirm whether the information contained there is correct or not. It reads as follows, quote unquote, during my tenure, redacted, I worked without fear or favor. I recall that and that and that, out of State House at night. This, I believe, was something that most people were not happy with and started framing me against the president. Unquote. Is that information correct? After all this, did you continue working as a soldier in the GNA?
No.
Let me bring you to paragraph 23. You confirm to me whether it is correct or not. It says, I was unredacted in my residence by X, Y, Z, and A on the pretext that. Do you confirm that what is contained in para 23 is correct?
Yes, but vital information is missing from this paragraph, which I refer you to include in paragraph 3 to be paragraph 2. The name in paragraph 2. He was in paragraph 23.
So you mean that the person mentioned in paragraph 2 was also present during this event, correct?
Yes.
And after the events that have been described in paragraph 23 and in paragraph 24, Mr. Chairman, I would not read out paragraph 24 for obvious reasons. But before that, perhaps, I'll let the witness look at paragraph 24 and confirm whether the facts contained in paragraph 24 are correct. Answer yes or no.
Yes, it's correct.
And could you tell us who led the operation that is mentioned in paragraph 23 and 24? Tell us, just if the person is mentioned on the list, tell us the number, please.
I refer you to paragraph 2.
And the person mentioned in paragraph 2 led this particular operation you mentioned in paragraphs 23 and 24, correct?
Yes.
As a result of these events, in paragraphs you discussed in paragraphs 23 and 24, tell us what eventually happened to you, not the details.
I decline to answer that question.
Thank you very much, Mr. Witness. Okay, let me take you a little further into the document that you have. Take a look at paragraphs 25 and 26 and let us know whether the contents there are true.
Both paragraphs were correct.
They are correct, right?
Yes.
Okay. After all this, did you continue in the service of the military or you did not?
I decline to answer the question.
I think you can answer this question, Mr. Witness. It's important we know what happened to you. Did you remain? Perhaps let me consult first with the witness, and then I'll come back. This is important. We have to protect the identity of the witness. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Council suggesting that we turn off the microphones there because the consultation that's going on can be picked up in the microphones there. So technicians, if you don't mind, just turn that off. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have consulted with the witness, and I can ask him the question again, and he would decide whether he would want to answer or not. After all these events that have been described, that you have described in paragraphs 16 to 24 to 26, did anything happen to you after all this? Did anything happen to you?
Yes, something happened to me.
Can you tell us exactly what happened without going through all the details, please?
I'm not comfortable in answering these questions because it's an obvious revelation.
At this stage, perhaps we should take our lunch break, and I would have further consultation with the witness and see if he's still not comfortable answering those questions, then we would have to leave it at that, and we would put in the statement of the witness. In any case, the information that I am trying to elicit from the witness is already information that we have in terms of what we're looking for, except, of course, we would not publicly get information about his own victimization, but it is his choice to not have that on the public record, but we can put it in through the statement of the witness, if that is permissible, if that is acceptable. In the meantime, I suggest that we go on lunch break. and the witness would have an opportunity to reflect further on this, and he would advise us as to whether he would wish to provide that information publicly or not. If he doesn't, we stand guided by you, Mr. Chairman, but we would recommend in that case that we just put in the statement of the witness.
Thank you very much, Chairman Council. I think it is advisable indeed for you to have further consultations with the witness and then come back to us. I hope the members of the Commission would have an opportunity at the end of the third session this afternoon to ask any questions that they may have. But you have your consultations with the witness, and we would proceed after the 1-hour lunch break. If there are no further issues, the meeting is adjourned. We come back at 2:30. Thank you.